We're certainly seeing prices of electricity rise in Australia, and it's important to recognise that this has been driven by a number of different factors. So one of the largest factors that's driving it in Australia is the increasing spend in network infrastructure in Australia, but also, of course, some of the new schemes that we've got coming in, so solar energy or the putting in a carbon price will also increase it, but to a lesser effect than existing problems that we have in our market. So, most of those rises we'll see in the residential sector. We're seeing the largest price rises occurring in those areas, and in the commercial and industrial sector, the prices are certainly going up, nowhere near as steeply as what we're seeing in other areas. So, what will that ultimately mean? Well, we'll definitely see price rises. Building owners will start to have to work out how they're going to address those price rises, and in many ways, their options are limited, but of course the biggest option that they have is energy efficiency, and again they can, a building owner can get many benefits out of moving towards energy efficiency, not just in terms of saving energy, but also in terms of potentially raising the star value of their building to a higher rating, so getting a 5-star NABERS rating or something like that, which brings about higher returns for the building. Tenants are looking for high Green Star, high star rated buildings, so there's opportunities there as well. Also, productivity of buildings seems to be improved by improving the energy efficiency of the building. So if you can, when you're doing energy efficiency, you tend to also address the comfort of the building as well, and you'll end up seeing productivity, and there's lots of anecdotal evidence around that, and certainly there's a lot of research now going into trying to find and really look at what that productivity benefit is. But anecdotal evidence at the moment sort of showing anywhere between 15 and 20% productivity improvements in higher star rating buildings than their non-rated counterparts.
And
increases are coming from just making better use of fresh air in the building, for example. So we build buildings these days to try and mimic the conditions that are outside, and a lot of the time the conditions that are outside are perfect to bring inside. So implementing economy cycles on buildings, there's lots of old buildings out there that either have economy cycles that weren't well designed or don't even exist, and that's an example of where you can start to bring the conditions in. Also, better use of daylight, so putting in skylighting in warehouses and low-rise facilities. Also, daylight harvesting as well, so potentially just turning off the lights in areas that are already very well lit. And those benefits are really strong for people working in the building. They certainly, additional fresh air, of course, reduces the amount of air circulation, reduces the bugs that are floating around in the air that are just naturally there all the time. So those are the sort of productivity benefits that you're going to achieve, and those are the types of things that you should be looking for. Yeah, we'll certainly see a move towards retrofitting in Australia. 80% of the buildings that we'll be using in 2030 are buildings that we are living in now. So, and when you take into consideration that around 40% of the world's energy is used in buildings, and they produce around 30% of the world's CO2 emissions, we're certainly going to see building owners start to realise that they have to address the emissions of the existing buildings that they have. And it's in our experience that many buildings can have huge savings in terms of energy efficiency. So we're currently working on a project where we're aiming to save the customer around 60% on their energy bills. So this is where we'll start to see building owners recognising these opportunities and starting to move in towards retrofitting their buildings.